White folk rule us with fear. It is not white people, it's your fear of them that you gotta be freed from. You are a slave, a dressed up Brooks Brothers alligator shoe wearing, diamond ring wearing slave.
I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. Tell me, brother, talk to me, sister. I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. Tell me, brother, talk to me, sister.
It is time for us to use our power. Please do not beg folks for power. Nobody is going to give it to you. You were born with power.
Some very sad news for all of you and people who love peace all over the world. Martin Luther King was shot and was killed tonight in Memphis.
I will never say that progress is being made. If you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, there's no progress. You pull it all the way out, that's not progress. The progress is healing the wound that's below me.
I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. Tell me, brother, talk to me, sister.
But the hard truth is that not everyone is sharing in this city's splendor and glory. There are more poor than ever, more families in trouble, more and more people who need help but can't find it.
A struggle against the common enemies of man, tyranny, poverty, disease, and war itself.
We believe that all men are created equal, yet many are denied equal treatment.
And so we say to all in this nation who dare listen to us, black, white, Jew, Gentile, Asian, Latino, that we are brothers and sisters in a long and difficult struggle.
I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. Tell me, brother, talk to me, sister. I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. Tell me, brother, talk to me, sister.
It is time for us to use our power.
And I'm going to get it together real soon. I'm going to be a professional. Watch and see what I tell you. You don't believe me, do you?
Oh, I believe.
How you doing this evening, my brother?
Oh, man, I'm good. Just enjoyed the weather. Just got back in not too long ago.
Man, it was a beautiful day in St. Louis today, I tell you.
Yeah, it was.
Hey, I got a text from my older woman, and
did you?
Yeah, let me share this with you. I think it's hilarious. It says, "This is my personal cell phone. Missouri law requires all written correspondence, including pictures, to me as the alderwoman be sunshineable. Thus, all written correspondence must be made to my professional email address, Tyus S at stlouis/missouri.gov. Thank you for complying with Missouri Sunshine Law. Fact of the matter is, not only did I send it to her personal, but I sent it to that email she just gave me as well. So apparently she doesn't check that email very often, because had she checked her email, she would have saw that I sent it to that email as well. But
okay.
But no response to the written request to show just cause or reasoning for her being against me expanding my business. You know, with all the problems in the black community, you would think that an elected official would take the time and consideration to support any type of redevelopment, any type of business expansion in a community, especially in sight of the times that we're in today's world. How can you not be supportive of economic development in your community?
Yeah, that's a good question. But I'm kind of interested in why she's so adamant at being in her feelings, and she is a civil servant that works for the people. And you would think that, you know, the open door policy and the way that she's speaking would be more on a ground level versus, you know, someone that sounds like she's uptight.
Brother, you've been around me. You know, I'm very approachable. I can talk and dialogue with anybody. And my whole thing is, all the time you and I have met and we've talked, have I not always been respectful to you, my brother?
Been a perfect gentleman, man.
And that's how I treat everybody. I treat everybody the same because I require respect, so I have no problem with giving it.
Well, I can tell from your own demeanor and your personality that you are very respectful and a civilized man. The problem is with her, she's probably used to people coming at her combative when she comes combative, and you didn't fall into that trap, so she don't know how to respond. So I guess she's taking the approach of just remaining silent, because at this point, I don't understand how people that become elected officials are so standoffish to the people that have put them in their offices they're in.
And here's the thing, here's the double sword here. Not only am I a constituent that actually and physically lives in the ward, I own a business in the ward, which means I don't want to make enemies with anybody. I'm the type of person, I'll go out of my way to a certain extent not to have confrontation and problems with people. I'm not a confrontational kind of guy, okay? But I require respect, and I give respect. So I have no problem with demanding respect. And I'm still praying for the sister. I pray that whatever she's going through in her life, I don't know what her problem is, but it has nothing to do with me because I haven't done nothing to her. So I just think she needs prayer. But anywho, I just wanted to share that with you since I finally got a response from her. Now, she sent that back to my email about her personal phone. Let's see if she responds to the email that I sent to this email address that she just specified. Let's see if she'd be willing to do that. I don't understand why we can't sit down and talk. I mean, that's the whole problem I got. What have I done to this woman so horrible or so horrific that she can't even engage into a respectful conversation and converse with me on this matter? That's beyond my comprehension. But the truth will come out sooner or later. The truth will come out.
One never knows what these skeletons these people are holding. I do know for a fact that as of today at 3:30 p.m., I received a call and a text from Mr. Chad Egan, who's located in the Economic Development Administration. And he says they had a team of people contacting the St. Louis City about these allegations and why the funding is not being reached to the people. He says in his text he's still waiting on the St. Louis City representative to respond. Over 19 phone calls and 6 emails have been sent by him and his associates, he stated. He asked me if I spoke to anyone, and I stated no. I'm probably not on their good friend list anymore. So they are dodging questions from afar and near because for whatever the reason is, my man, they just do not want to divulge information of what's going on with those funds and why they elect.
I got an article that I read today. And I don't know exactly when this article was published, but it was published in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch by author Antonio French, who is a former alderperson. And the article spoke about broken promises and unkept promises by elected officials as it relates to the American Rescue Plan funds and the $37 million grant promised to small black businesses in North St. Louis. They went on to say that there is a cry from an alderperson in the South St. Louis to get some of those funds, which I hadn't heard before. I was under the impression that those funds were designated to this given area for a specific reason. And now they're trying to justify and come up with means and ways to spread the pie as thin as they can get it, for lack of better words. And I just think it's wrong on so many levels, because the instructions were given to spend this money, find out how much more you need, and send back. And why are they procrastinating and taking folks through all these different loopholes and things that you have to jump over and hurdles as it relates to receiving these funds? I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Well, that's probably the billion-dollar question that's on the minds of a lot of constituents and a lot of people who are sitting wondering the same thing. My take on this administration in the mayor's office, as well as SLDC, is that they've made promises that they knew they couldn't keep, because they had made other promises to other people that they planned on keeping. So financially, it's probably better for them to lie to those who are not in power than to lie to those who are in power. And that's the reason why I say that, is because when you go to the city of St. Louis and try to handle your business, it is a circus show.
Mm-hmm.
We have the most incompetent people running our city hall. And when you look at all of the debacles when it comes to the Recorder of Deeds office, the Assessor's office, the Secretary of Treasury's office, everything that's about the city of St. Louis spells corruption. And there's no other way to look at it. There's no simple way of looking at it. These things are an epidemic, and these people are cancerous to the development and growth of a civilized world.
Wow.
I'm past the point of trying to look at why they do what they do. I'm looking at how dare you do what you do. Because at the end of the day, this wasn't even your money.
Mm-hmm.
This is the people's money. This is the people with businesses' money. It's the people that suffered money. And you can look at yourself in the mirror and get up and go to work every day and know these people are suffering, and you are part of this, or you were supposed to be put in a position to be part of the solution. But you come to be one of the worst mayors in St. Louis history.
Well, you know, the problem, the whole problem that I have with the mayor, and first and foremost, I have learned not to get mad at people for being who they are. But the problem I have is that I voted for this sister when she ran for state rep. I voted for her when she ran for treasurer. And I voted for her each time that she ran for mayor, because I believed then that she was young, energetic, and wanted to do the right thing by the city and her people. My thing, when she said she wanted to help erase the Delmar divide, that was really something that resonated with me. And it resonated with me because I have been in this city all my life, and I've seen how the neglect and the disrespect for the areas north of Delmar throughout the last 4 or 5 decades. And for her to say that she wanted to help erase that Delmar divide, I believe that she wanted to do right by the entire city. And when the federal government, post-COVID, allocated these funds and provided what I would classify as a huge eraser, and told her and the politicians in this city to take these monies, start with the hood census tract, start rebuilding from the bottom up. This is not enough money. Take the ball, get it rolling, send back and tell us how much more you need. And rather than do that, you saw it as an opportunity to take all this money, sit it in the bank, draw the interest, and let the people continue to suffer. That is unacceptable, and it's a very despicable thing, in my opinion.
Not only is it despicable, it's downright deplorable. So the thing that I've been asking people on the streets and people in businesses, how do they feel about Tashara and Cori Bush basically alienating the sister that was circuit attorney, Kim Gardner, and now that she's gone, how do they look at the city being ran as being represented in the best interest of the people? Now, I'm asking people that are normal people that's in neighborhoods from north, south, east, and west, and I'm even asking people that's in the county. And I'm telling you, her ratings are at an all-time low. Mm-hmm. People do not feel like she is for the people. They feel like she's more so about businesses that are not hurting. They also feel like she's standoffish, because I've had mothers, women with degrees that went to college, some of them are Deltas, who said, you know, she don't even recognize some of them when they make phone calls or when they send emails or just want to hang out, don't even reach back over the line. Mm-hmm. So I look at things like that, my man, when we say, because I helped vote her in as well. I voted for her, who's no longer in her cabinet anymore. And some of the things that she said to us were supposed to happen didn't really happen. And then once I found out when she turned us over to Lance, he was just a dog and pony show. So accountability and just basically being able to look me in my eyes and tell me when you're wrong about something that you're wrong, but not, you know, just cowering from it. The entire staff in city council in St. Louis City is a joke. I mean, when they asked Mr. Butler of the Recorder of Deeds about the people's properties who are coming up being sold on the recorder on the back property tax list, who are not even on back tax list deficits, but their properties coming up on the sale list. And so the approach that they take for that is no questions. We have no comments. So, you know, when you start seeing an entire government tell you there is no comment to the question that you have. I seen the interview on the news with the director of the Justice Center. One of the reporters asked her, when are we going to be able to see these devices and see the internal working of how this, you know, Justice Center works, because there's a lot of deaths. And we're finding out that a lot of people that passed away in the Justice Center could have been saved because the COs lied, didn't call ambulances in time, thought the people were faking. These are the things that show you that there's a lack of transparency. The city is filing a suit against St. Louis City for withholding their wages and poor job practices, things of that nature. These are men and women that work under the tutelage of the mayor and her cabinet and her office and her officers. And they are complaining at an all-time high and filing lawsuits. So that speaks very harsh about her, are the people that she was put in office by because she's turned her back on them. Mm-hmm. And I'm saving a lot of the things that people say just because we're on a call. I'm not using that language, but they have a very distaste for our mayor. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
I must admit, I am highly disappointed. At this point, I am truly disappointed in the sister. I just wish that she would engage and converse with me from a professional standpoint. Not only am I a resident in the city, I'm a business owner in the city, and I believe that the mayor has a responsibility as well as an obligation to converse with me and others as it relates to this matter?
Well, they had a town hall meeting in Soulard. They've had a town hall meeting on the south side. I believe that they should come to town hall meetings that we ask them to come to, whether it be at the library or someone's establishment. But I do feel that they need to have a better way of addressing things, because just keeping your mouth shut and not saying anything makes you look guilty. And I know for a fact that they don't want to get out and rebut this because it's on paper. Lying. We caught them with their hands in the cookie jar and their pants down. So when you got things that's on paper coming from Washington and you're steady sit back like you don't hear people saying these things that are about you and your staff, you need to address it. Because the next step we're going to is, once this petition gets the number of signatures that we need, we're moving forward.
I'm asking people I'm asking more people to come forward to sign the petition. I'm pleading right now as many people as we can get to sign this petition. And the petition only clearly states about seeking the funds that was for illness and drug addiction, which is another entity that some of this money was supposed to address in our community, because you cannot keep ignoring a drug crisis in your community and think that it's just going to go away or it's going to disappear. It's going to vanish. That's not going to be the case. There needs to be an all-out effort to aid and assist some of our people in getting off of these drugs in this community. And there needs to be money put aside for that, because it was sent for that interest. And for them to sit on these funds, I just saw an article somewhere today where the mayor is stating that she wants to put some of that Rams money in the bank to draw interest and hold for a rainy day, as she called it, when it's been raining in my community for over 40, 50 years. And I think that's one of the reasons that they're so boldly and so nonchalant and just so despicable, man, at wanting to just ignore that we went through a crisis. COVID-19 was a crisis, brother. It shook the world.
Yes, it was a crisis, but we're still in a crisis. Some information came in earlier, but we haven't got complete clarity about it yet. But rumors are saying that the reason why she did that interview post-haste when the nursing home's highway is because the city had given that nursing home some money. And evidently, when the money cleared, they closed their doors.
Very serious in those people and got money to pay them. That's just horrible. I don't understand, how is it that they could have gotten money and the small businesses were left out?
Well, that's the thing. See, tell us verbatim, EDA, who all received and was recipients of large donations from the city after 2021 dealing with COVID money. Because here's the thing, Mr. Carter, once again, Title 42 protects the money. And if the money is not being given to those that it was designed for, then it is a federal crime. So the petition is basically to explain to the EDA that these are the people who have not received any funds. These are the people that live in the census tract area. These are the people that's got the questions why they're being left out of a country when they help build a country, go to work every day, pay their taxes, and raise families. But through hardships and burdens and hard times, they are having to beg like dogs to get crumbs. So the petition is to show the EDA that there are more than 300 or 400 disgruntled people in the city of St. Louis. As the city says, it's just a few 200 or 300 complaining, but we'll get to them. That's what kind of memos they send to Washington, D.C., as if hundreds of thousands of people have received numerous benefits of funding from St. Louis City. So I do know for a fact that help is on the way. It's taking a little longer time than expected, but once the petition is filled out with enough signatures, I'm, in good graces to believe that a lot of people's heads are going to be turning because they're nervous right now. That's why they're not saying anything. That's why a lot of them are standoffish because they already know the 3 that fell 2 years ago was just an example of what can fall today. So that money brings out temptation in some of the most humble people. So if those that decided to conspire, and when I say conspire, I mean it witnessed 3 weeks ago where 72 members of the Democratic Party in New York were all hauled off in federal court for doing some of the same things, pay to play, underhand tactics, and moving money without the permission of the federal government as if it's their own money.
Mm-hmm. Those are just some of the things that are going on, man. And you know, I just, for the love of me, I don't understand why all the people haven't taken the initiative to really thoroughly express and explain to people what these monies were for and how these monies came to be. This is not Santa Claus dropping a $520 million out of the sky. This is from the federal government post-COVID, the midst of a crisis, and people still to this day are having residual effects as it relates to COVID-19 in our community. And for those that represent us to know that the federal government sent money for us, and for them to not work expeditiously to get it to the hands of the people that needed it so much, it's shameful in so many ways. And this is Black history. You're talking about Black history. This is Black history made by Black folks against Black folks. This is the worst Black history that I've ever seen in my life.
Well, you know, we can give it Black history, blackball, blackwashed, however how many names you want to give it. The fact of the matter is, it's black on black.
Mm-hmm.
Next deal. They put it on our next deal no most. We can't scream that. Problem is, we got our own people finessing us. That's what it boils down to. This is some backdoor hood nonsense that these people done conspired. And, you know, more. We definitely can't put wings on them.
Oh, no.
They're definitely not the angels watching over the people that they supposedly been put in power to help watch over, to make sure that they're not being wrongfully done and to make sure that the people's rights are not being trampled on. These are the people who took an oath to decide to go against everything they took an oath for and hide and shade and pull deceptive measures and vote on things that don't even need voting. I just don't get, for the life of me, how they thought that St. Louis people were so dumb when we read the bills that they voted on, and then you look at when the money came, you're holding votes on things that don't even need votes. And by the way, 2 people did not vote on that money being allocated to creating programs. So, you know, when you start to look at why the other 2 didn't vote, and then you find out they were in the building and they were present for the vote, but they decided not to cast a vote, that's telling you that they knew that they weren't supposed to be voting on that money. It is already protected under a federal statute, period. Federal law trumps state law, and it definitely trumps local jurisdiction and ordinances. So the people that sent you the money told you to give it to these. There was nothing in there that says you're supposed to vote. I read the entire package.
I wish people would look at it like this. Let's say there is a flood in our community, and FEMA have to come in and provide funding. Don't nobody vote on that. The Metropolitan Sewer District. They did that and conducted that in less than 30 days. Why would it take them 2 years to vote on emergency funds from COVID-19? I mean,
well, let's look at a scenario. If someone was in a car accident and we pulled over and we seen them needing help, would me and you decide to vote on who calls the ambulance and the police to get them help?
It wouldn't make sense.
Exactly. So we're talking about highly intelligent people that went to college to deal with problem solving. And you're telling me it took them 24 months, almost 800 days to solve a simple solution when the federal government say, give people this money. And from your hand to mine,
let's just keep it real. From where I'm sitting and what I'm seeing and what I've seen, that was a stall tactic to justify sitting the money in the bank to draw the interest. There's no other way to look at it.
Yeah, and they listen, and they they sacrificed 3 of their own just to show that they were all dead in to the scheme. Because I don't know why they had to go back and redo everything, and LRA and CBA deals with
those are all stall tactics. Those were nothing more than stall tactics and smoke screens, and they're still sitting on the money. And
well, something bigger I want to bring your attention to. What made them think that the people are less important than what the federal government had already said was a crisis? And what I mean by that is the people that they're asking for funds for every year is the federal government. They ask for funds for that's already out there in circulation, shows there was no need for voting. There was no need to try to come up with all these new programs. You first must start from the bottom. That was the president's exact word. Start from the very bottom.
With the hood census tract, he said he mentioned the hood census tract.
Correct. He said the hood census tract, and he said when you need more, just ask us and we will send it. It's very simple. I mean, if I'm up the creek without a paddle and you decide to throw me a paddle and a life jacket, I'm not going to tell you wait 2 years and then I'll decide to use it. I mean, come on, man. It's common sense. Mm-hmm. We're talking about educated people who took the initiative to go against the Fed. That's basically what they did, man. There's no way to sugarcoat it, and every single one of them that voted not to give direct payments to businesses and fund and people in these census tract areas ASAP. And by the way, every other city that basically every other city that shows the effect of what that money done are showing the results that crime is really going down. Mm-hmm. And they're not just not answering the 911 phone calls. You know. Mm-hmm. So right now we're almost double the crime that we were last year in the new year of 24, dealing with homicide.
Mm-hmm. And you know, that raises another issue here, man. We have a number of ills that we're plagued with as a people and as a community, but to keep resources from people, and then this city is going to hell in a handbasket, and the resources are being denied and held back from black folks like never before. And if that's a reflection of our administration, then I didn't make that scenario. I mean, you have to take responsibility at some point for your lack of leadership. I don't see leadership in this city. I see folks that are afraid to be true men and women and speak truth to power and stand up against that which is wrong. You know, I just don't understand, for the love of me, how in fact that folks can just go day to day and know that you have done a disservice and you've done wrong to your people and your community, and you don't feel bad about it. You don't feel bad about it. I don't get it. I don't get it. We're moving backwards as a people, as a community, when we allow our so-called leadership to blatantly disrespect us and disregard us as a people and as a community, and that's what's being done right now.
Yeah, it's being done right now, and you know, you hit a very touchy point. They don't have any backbones, Mr. Carter, because you know when you stand independently as grown individual. You have a But when you take an oath to the people, to the Constitution, and then you take an oath to your insurance company, put in power to try to figure out how to give money away. That's who I put the complete blame on, because when she turned the money over to SLDC and she explained that they're going to create programs and give out funding and this, that, and you can come down there, it sounded real good. But I haven't met anyone out of the questions that I've been given on the street and in my office of any of the families that's receiving the $500 a month were for 18 months. I haven't heard and met not one family who's receiving those benefits and vouchers. So what I would like to do is find out, because this Freedom of Information Act to allow us to see that as well. The city says they put seals on a lot of things. They can't divulge that information. Well, the only thing you cannot divulge per se is medical records. That's protected by HIPAA. But when things are in the public's eye and in the public's view and you've made payment, it becomes open to everyone. It's not a court case. So for them to use that language that they can't give information out that's classified lets us know it's a cover-up. And they believe everybody has a third grade education where they can just basically say, get out of my face. But no, we're going to keep coming until we get these answers, because we were giving this money, not the city. The city was just to be a vessel of holding it as trustee. That's it. And this is one of the biggest cover-ups if the United States allows St. Louis City representatives to get away with this, bigger than the Ponzi scheme that Madoff did, because this is over almost $1 billion we're talking. From the programs created have changed the lives of people in the city. I mean, have you met anybody that can clearly tell you, yes, after COVID, SLDC created this program and I got hired from them and it's changed my life? Name one. So we don't even have an example for them to put in our face and says, well, this is many more to come. Name one example. Give us one family that is receiving the $500 monthly stipend. These things are myths until I can see it on paper with the office in there. Well, everybody that's went in there have been turned around and basically given 3 or 4 different stories. And I'm speaking about a lot of people with businesses on MLK as well, who is directly in the census tract, just like the people on Union. Your company falls on Union. So none of these parties have received anything other than maybe a $5,000, which did nothing for real besides pay a few bills. Let's be honest. When you run a business, $5,000 is ate up in less than a month.
Well, I'm going to put it to you like this, brother. The $5,000 that they gave me was gone in one day. Because I was so far behind, I tried to maximize it, and I got stuff that was on sale, and I spent all that $5,000 on stock and inventory, and it was gone in one day. So I mean, I really wish that elected officials would step up to the plate and talk about this, and why they don't. You know, that's another thing. They don't feel they have to talk about it. They don't feel they owe an explanation to the people that they represent. You know, just like sharing ties. How can you be in a conversation with a business owner and a constituent and you get upset to the degree that you want to start raising your voice and then hang up? Because you don't want to answer the questions that are placed before you as relates to justifiable reasons, not wanting a business to expand on a vacant lot that's been vacant for over 20 years.
Well, that just goes to show you that she probably shouldn't be an alderwoman, because she's more so with her heart in the mind of being a debater from a lawyer standpoint. And clearly,
correction. I hate to do this to you, brother, but I want to correct you. From where I'm sitting and the behavior that I've experienced as well as I've seen from this alderwoman, I classify her as a bully. Continue to be engaged in bully-like tactics and bully-like behavior is unacceptable, and something's going to have to be done to address it. I'm concerned about the safety of the people down there at the board, because at some point in time, when I'm watching her and her demeanor and how she moves and operates, it's almost like she's about to snap. I don't know if she's going to go postal or what, but she is engaging in bully tactics and bully behavior, and that raises concern.
Yeah, I mean, you've met her. I have never met her. I just know most lawyers try to out-talk you and outwit you.
Yeah. Well, see, that's what she was doing when she called me the other day. Now, hearing that, you know how many times I've been telling you all that I've been reaching out to all these elected officials, trying to converse with them on this matter. Lo and behold, she finally calls me back, but she waits till after 11 o'clock in the morning when she knows I'm at work trying to wait on customers. But I made a sacrifice and squirrels in some time, and she was trying to talk about everything that had nothing to do with me and my concerns. If I've been waiting for umpteen days for you to return my call, I don't want to utilize any of that time talking about something that doesn't pertain to me. My time is going to be directed and geared toward my concerns, my issues as it relates to. Now that you're here, I don't want to talk about all this other stuff. So when I stopped her from that and raised the question about her support with me expanding, she flies off the handle and goes and raises her voice as if I was her husband or her child or something, and goes so far as to say, rating. And this has been going on for well over 10 years. But I had thought, I was under the impression that she, whatever, came to her senses and got up off of that. But now it's been brought to my attention that she has been working against me all along. And she doesn't have any justifiable reason, because I've never done anything to the woman. I've never said anything out of the way to her. I've never been disrespectful toward her. She doesn't have any, unless she fabricates something, any justifiable reason for behaving the way that she behaved with me the other day. And I'm asking her for an apology. I think she owes me an apology because, for one, you don't become combative and disrespectful to business owners and constituents when they're conversing with you about a legitimate concern in the community. If you can't control yourself, you can't conduct yourself as a professional, something's wrong with that, and you need to be held accountable. And I'm going to continue to pray for her. I'm going to continue to ask her for an apology, and I'm going to continue to ask her if she has a legitimate reason or a legitimate explanation to why I shouldn't be able to expand my business on a vacant lot that's been vacant for 20 years. I'm asking for a written response to that. I want to see something in black and white that she's willing to put forth other than just her jaws. And I'm not afraid of bullies. Let me be clear on that. I think bullies are dangerous to our society. I think that she's controversial. I've never approached her, but I intend to put a call out to her Monday. I have been unsuccessful at getting the president of the Board of Aldermen to return my phone calls. I've been reaching out to the president of the Board of Aldermen, and
Green.
Yeah, she won't return my calls. I've left several messages for her. I've even emailed her, and she is not responsive as well. And that's another thing, man. I mean, I know that these people are claiming to be so busy, but I think at some point in time, it's a blatant disrespect if you refuse or fail to return calls to constituents and business owners in your geographical area.
Do they, and are they supposed to be in their offices so many hours a week?
That I don't know. I don't believe that they are. I believe they come and go as they so choose. I've never known them to be required to be in office at given times. They come and go when they choose. There used to be a time, once upon a time, they would return your phone calls. Now they're getting to a place now to where they just won't even return phone calls.
I'm gonna find out Monday morning about that, because I do believe, because I do believe they have to have so many hours in their office weekly because they're getting paid billable hours. That's why they got that raise stating that they're so busy. So working from home was when COVID was going on, but working on the computer and being in your office where people can come to City Hall to see you, I believe that is a requirement for all civil servants at some point. It's not no good. It's just mute. So going into year 4, it's starting to feel like they're just not going to do anything. So that's why we're asking for an oversight commission from Washington, D.C. to launch an investigation once we get this petition, because we're going into federal court with it. One way or another, subpoenas are going to be filed to the necessary parties. And like Chad stated, they're dodging him for a reason. And he's the one that's over the entire state of Missouri for funding. And Chad basically is like, wow, he can't believe that all the people that he's contacted by email and telephone, and he sent me these verifications that he's sent emails to these certain people, and he's contacted them with their secretaries by phone, but no response phone calls.
Mm-hmm. Well, they have a track record of not returning phone call. I bear witness to that. So tell Chad don't feel bad because they're not returning my calls either. How about that?
Yeah, I definitely will. Next time he reach out. But
yeah.
Like I told him, sometimes it's better to just show up and talk to him face to face because, they got to go in the office eventually and come out.
Yeah, they should. They should.
With those subpoenas, when you get those people from Washington, D.C. tired of haggling with you, they just start flying subpoenas. And that's probably going to be the best answer to get them to give us some information because, they've decided that they have a guy-like personality and that they're bigger than the law. Also, we want to get Mr. Sheriff Vernon Betts involved in this conversation because we just found out he's being investigated by the judges from the city of St. Louis for having a $500 fee attached to any time someone goes in and asks for a license to go through training.
Respect for Vernon. I voted for Vernon. I supported Vernon when he first ran for sheriff. I was at a store. I was down by 20th and Florissant, and he came in and asked for my support. And I told him, and I looked him in the face like I do, and I talked to him man to man. I said, if I support you, and if you ever say or do something wrong, would you have a problem with me bringing it to your attention and being able to talk to you about it? And he agreed. That was in 2010 when we had that conversation. And now, a couple of years ago, he came to me and said some things to me about an employee of his that he knew was a common friend of mine. And he told me out of his own mouth that he was going to punish this brother because he didn't vote for who he wanted to for the Senate race. This brother was supporting Michelle. I can't call her last name. It was it's on the tip of my tongue too. It was Michelle something that was running for the Senate, and he wanted this brother to support Steve Roberts, but the brother had already committed to Michelle, and since he didn't support Roberts, he told me he was going to support Roberts. He told me I said, Vernon, you're wrong, and he said, F him. He don't know who he effing with. And this is Vernon Betts, the sheriff, who I supported and thought was a good guy, thought he was a man of God, a Christian man. You cannot, I don't care who you are, you cannot punish someone because they don't vote for who you. When people perpetrate themselves as men and women of God, I look and expect for them to have godly behavior. And to have some sense of moral, some values, and some responsibility as it relates to how they treat people. how they converse with people, and
well, you know, the devil never came and told anyone he was the devil. He came in the image of somebody else that you would trust.
Yeah, right. You, hey, I stand to be corrected. I stand to be corrected, my brother. You are so right on that one. I cannot disagree with that. And you know, one of the things is, and I want to make sure we're clear on this. We've always, you and I both, have always encouraged folks to correct us anywhere where we're wrong. And
right.
as all the time we've been talking about this stuff, nobody's been able to make any corrections in any of the things that we're saying because we've been telling the truth. That's one thing I've learned about the truth. It don't never change. It stays the same. It remains the same. Okay. No matter how you look at it, how you hold it up, how you shake it up, the truth is always going to be the truth. It never changes.
And I also want the audience and the people to know this too, Mr. Carter. We're not doing this we look just like Clayton look, or look just like Chesterfield look, or look just like South County look, or if not better.
Brother,
so,
it hurts my heart to know that these people had a blank check and all they had to do was spend the money and send back for more to help rebuild our community and help rebuild our neighborhoods. And for them to sit on the money and not send back for more is a total insult to black folks. And it's going down as a part of black history. Trust and believe me.
Well, you know, it is to just be a cluster. You know what? Because these youngsters, they don't trust the parents and the elders.
I think I'm
There is no equal ground. These people are killing children. They're killing women. Women are robbing banks in St. Louis. Like I said, all this ends up happening on the north side. You know, it is clearly a huge problem that one day to 5 years is not going to solve. But putting funding in an area to where we can get some of these buildings up and running, get these families having workable jobs, and see, this money helps families create their own revenue as well.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
You know, people look at you as a shining example because even though you didn't close through COVID, you still remain vigilant to where you didn't let COVID break your spirit to where you came back after COVID.
Right. We were actually shut down for a couple of months. About a month, I think it was. We was actually shut down for about a month. But I mean, even before we shut down and even after, there has been all kind of issues, hurdles, and things that we had to overcome. It was been a huge struggle. Supply chain issues, not being able to get this, only allowed to buy so many of this. All those things had a grave impact on our bottom dollar, and it wiped out all of my savings that I had accumulated over years. Was wiped out through COVID just to keep the doors open, and we still struggle to this day. But I don't complain about it, you know.
That was the time. So why is it always the time to do something when the crisis is taking place, but it's not the time after the crisis when people are still hurting from the crisis? So it's almost backwards when you hear them say, it's time for us to come together. Well, that only means come together when they're affected by sorrow and devastation and pain directly. Because when they see it out there in the masses, they're not putting forth the right foot to go help these people. You know, if they wasn't getting their name in the newspaper and their faces on Channel 2 and Fox 2 News, I don't believe you would even see these people. They're not poised. They don't look like they have elegance. They don't look like they are somebody that is respectable. They all like they chasing a dollar. And let's be frank, I don't know why a lawyer who is supposed to be a great lawyer, I guess, or even a lawyer that's average, would sit up and argue with a business owner about what's making the community better if she don't stay in the community. Mm-hmm. See what I'm saying? A lot of these people don't stay in the community. They got addresses. They go back to those wards, but they don't domicile in those communities. You know, I know for a fact a lot of them don't. Mm-hmm. Listen, we're talking about some of the best politic tricks that you can utilize on people is to always, and they don't know what you're doing. It's the old wizard game, 2-card shuffle. These are good people that know how to do it because there's no oversight going to the city to say, hey, let's see what's going on. Look, I witnessed the thing on YouTube where that young man, the homosexual young man is on the oversight committee. Well, he was on the oversight committee for the Justice Center. He went in there to try to see and take pictures. They threw him on the ground, locked him up, and then put him in the Justice Center. Now, this man is on the oversight committee for the Justice Center investigation. And the COs put him in cuffs, called his lie because, man, they don't want you to come and see anything. They don't want you to open their books. They don't want to tell you anything. So they took an oath to protect each other's you-know-what because they're all deep in the you-know-what.
And not to be transparent. They took an oath not to be transparent. Yeah.
Cori Bush's office.
You know, wait a minute, hold on. Man, Cori Bush, let me, I'm glad you said this. And this is what I want people to really resonate on and to understand. Cori Bush, who is the Congresswoman now, when these funds went through Congress, she had to sign off on them and vote for them. She knew the funds existed. Why wouldn't she do everything within her power to make sure that those funds got to the people that voted for her in that geographical area? Why?
Well, let's analyze a few things. One, she never told any of us what the funds were and what they were first. So let's be clear.
Okay.
She went along with the story about their Harper Fund because in 2022 and in 2021, my office contacted her with Chad on the phone to ask about the Recompete pilot program. The people inside of her office, so we denied these week, and I had Chad on the phone again. They told me they would get back with me. So for almost a year and a half, we've been leaving messages and still no response. And it's just about one question. Why haven't she told the people that she represents that they have been reclassified as indigenous people and that they have funding called the word closed lips? So you're just running into the same thing we've been running into because when they found out we was on the trail and we found out where the money came from, when we was on Washington in Mr. Ed Gordon's office, Lance Knuckles specifically said in a recorded conversation with me, Willie Boyd, a few other people, Coffee Wright, and Eugene Gordon in his office, and he stated for the record that SLDC has never received any funding from the EDA under the Recompete pilot program.
Wow.
And I didn't show him that we had the information there that day because I already let the people that came with me with the meeting see what we had as evidence because I wanted to let them see that the man wears two faces. And so the very next day, I emailed him a copy of the Recompete pilot program, and he got very adamant and very upset. Mm-hmm. And he basically said I was trying to nail him to the cross for other people's misdoings. And I said, no, I just want you to come out and say what the funds are really for so the people can go and actually receive the funds. Because it's not for Caucasian people and it's not for any other ethnic group. This is for the people who are the children. This is for the people who had a nationality stripped from them in 1774, which is on the law books. So when they sent this, which is on the consistency clause, and put a statue over it, you can believe the people that come from where I come from, we was ecstatic because even Obama didn't do that. Mm-hmm. But remember, Joe Biden said it himself. See, they can call the man slow, they can call him Old Joe, but that man stated for the record, give the money to the people in the census tract first, starting from the ground zero of the worst in the worst neighborhoods.
That's what he said.
And when you run out But they've seen from reports about the census tract and from the application that was received from SLDC on behalf of the people that live in the census tract and the business owners. So technically speaking, we can actually hold them accountable for embezzlement, because if you didn't give them permission and your consent to write an application on your behalf for your business and your personal needs, then they lied, because that's just like me putting an application in your name to get a car and you never know I got you the car, but I'm driving it. Or I'm leasing it.
All right, my brother, we got to get out of here now. I'll be back in the morning. If you're up in the morning, catch us on in the morning, and we're going to go from there.
All right, my brother. Peace and blessings to you.
All right. Thank you so much, my brother.
You're in revolution.
Likewise.
In the air.